Hi, this is Ray from loveyourrv.com, and today I am boondocked in Valley of the Gods with a good friend of mine named Eddie from Wyoming, and I'd like to show you his really swizzo cool solar setup. He has, I believe, 540 watts on the roof, but he's done a real bang-up job of an install, so he's been kind enough to let me show you exactly how it's set up and the equipment that's installed in his fifth wheel. They're full-timers from Wyoming, so they live in their fifth wheel all the time, but he's really set up for boondocking. So let's go up on the roof and check out what kind of panels he's got. Okay, here we are up on the roof, and you can see they're starting to catch the early morning sun really nicely. Love the tilts. So he started out with these two here, and they're 150s. And you can see how he ran the wiring into a junction box here, and then down into his front storage compartment where all his batteries and charge controllers and monitors live. And then he added these other really cool, what were these, Curacao?
Yeah, Curacao.
And they were
140s.
140s. And then ran some more conduit along here, plastic, and down. So in hindsight he would have ran it all into one, but hindsight is 20/20, right? So I love the junction boxes there.
All that stuff was got at Home Depot.
All at Home Depot, wow.
Yeah, it's easy to get. You just go to the electrical compartment and find all kinds
So
of
what
stuff.
gauge of wire is running from the panels to the junction?
But each panel has number 10, and then when it gets to the junction on the main box, I've got number 6 going down to the controller.
So that's really important, as thick as you can go,
as thick as you
all the way down to the charge controller, and get as much energy as you can.
Even if they go at MPPT, it's nice to have it as thick as possible, so the less resistance on it is the better, because you get more juice out of your panels.
Yeah, so if you spend a lot of money on panels, you just defeat yourself if you send a skinny wire down there. And I love these mounts. You made these mounts yourself?
Yep, they're just out of stock aluminum. You can buy at Home Depot or any one of your hardware stores.
And you screwed them to the panel, the existing panel?
Yep, screwed them, and also caulked it before I
bracket.
screwed it on.
Oh yeah. And then when you put it in your roof, are these, what's underneath there? Just
stainless steel screws, and then I just took and put a bed of die-core on there.
Yeah.
Later on I'll put some Eternabond tape on there when I get some more.
Yeah. So when you put them down, you just got the thumb screws there.
Yep.
Lay them down and do them back up.
Yeah, I've got different notches so that I can adjust the panel for when it's later in the season, like December, January. I can make that tilt even stronger if I'm in Wyoming or if I'm here. And later on I'm going to come down here and make an extra hole in this so I can drop it down and use it in the summertime in Wyoming. That's nice.
So that makes a major difference tilting in the winter.
Oh, it does.
Because the sun's so low. So this, I was wrong, you have 580 watts total. And with that you're able to run your satellite TV and all your TVs, make coffee.
In the daytime I can run 2 big, what are they, 27-inch TV sets.
Yeah.
And the satellite, which takes the most power out of my entertainment's that satellite receiver. And then also run our little deep freeze.
A deep freeze even, wow.
And then still be charging my batteries up.
Wow. So what's sort of the max current you're seeing in voltage off?
Voltage, mine's got a temperature compensation, so it depends on how cold it is outside, but I can have anywhere from 14.4 to all the way up to 15.5 depending on how cold it is. The colder it is, the more voltage it'll pour into it. But amperage, I've seen anywhere from 36 amps, which is almost maxed out for these panels.
That's awesome.
The Kerosene are a better panel, I found out
And-
later on.
And are these series wired or parallel?
They're all in series. They're all in series. Yeah, they're
yeah.
all. I don't have them in parallel like you would for MPPT.
Okay. Cool. And there's my little 2 wussy little panels.
Just a starter kit.
Just starting to paper mine. Someday. This is awesome. Okay, well, let's go down and see where this energy goes. See what controls it and see what stores the power. Wow, beautiful day here. This is what it's all about. This is why you want the solar, so you can just hang out here and camp for free in this gorgeous landscape. Whoa, there's your front storage compartment. Man, really well organized, but a lot of stuff. Whew. Okay, we better start with one thing at a time. So we'll start with where the main power controller, they call it a charge controller, so all the power from the solar first comes down and hits this TriStar charge controller. And how many amp of a controller is that?
It's a 45 amp PWM.
45 amp Morningstar, and you've been really happy with that.
Yeah, it's been a good deal.
Yeah.
I first started with that other one, it wasn't as good.
Yeah, I love how you've put the wiring in. So this is your positive and negative,
Yes.
and then this is for your
That's sensor wires.
sensor wires, and you have a panel inside?
No,
picks that
actually what it does is it goes down, one of the sensor wires goes into this battery compartment right here, and it's a temperature
Oh,
compensation.
I see. That's awesome.
And the other one takes voltage of the battery bank itself,
Oh, yeah.
and that's how it makes its decision how much it's going to charge your batteries, or how little.
Okay, so after it goes, the power goes from the solar panel, and then this is charging this bank of batteries.
Yes, it is.
And that is 4 12 volts?
Yeah, 4 12 volts, they're 105 a piece, so that bank right there is 420 amps.
Nice.
Amp hours, excuse me.
Great job on the wiring in there.
Clean wiring, you don't have any
Heavy, heavy,
explosions.
heavy. The theme is heavy wiring if you want as much power from the solar panels as they can provide. Don't cheap out on your wiring. Awesome. I love how you did the connections with the shrink wrap there. And the box is great. This is custom built box.
Yep. Yeah, that's a soffit board. You can buy it in a 4x8 sheet at your hardware, your supply store for building materials, and it's made out of PVC. It's ABS. It's got little bubbles in it, so it's real light.
Oh,
And it doesn't transfer any of your electrical. It's not conductive, so.
wow, that gives me some great ideas.
And it's light. That was the
Yeah.
biggest reason.
And did you rivet it together?
Yeah, I riveted it, and
Top rivet?
I used caulking and rivets together at the same time. Used an aluminum angle on the corners, just some cheap stuff.
Yeah, everything's cheap, but it's so much better than you could buy.
Oh, it'd be twice as much if you
Yeah.
bought it.
And what's this?
That was one of them hindsight things. I was going to put a battery shut off to it, but
Oh, yeah.
I got to reading what the battery switch was rated at, and it was too big for the bank.
Oh,
so
okay.
I left it there so someday if I needed it.
Yeah. Okay. So, let's see. And this black box up here says solar panel disconnect. That's just to disconnect your panels if you're going to do some work on them?
Exactly.
Yeah.
In the other compartment, which we won't be able to get to right now, it's got too much stuff,
Yeah.
but there's a combiner box that's combining the two sets of panels.
Yeah.
And they all come in 12 volt.
Yeah.
And it goes to a number 4 wire,
Yep.
which happened to be some number 4 wire I had from one of my welders.
Okay.
And I run it into this box.
Yeah.
It's got a disconnect. That way you can disconnect and completely isolate your your solar panels from your controller.
Yeah.
And then I can also take and disconnect my controller from my battery bank if I need to do anything to the controller right here at this circuit breaker. So that means that you can isolate your
Yeah, those are super handy rather than undoing wires or anything like that. And where did you get that?
That's
box?
actually a air conditioning box for wet and
yeah.
and coastal conditions.
Yeah.
Some leftover from when I had my heating and air conditioning business.
Yeah, that's cool. So now you've got your power coming in, your charge controller converting the power, and charging your batteries. So next you need some way to monitor the system, right?
Yeah, that's where the shunt comes in right here.
That's okay.
It's on my negative side.
Yeah.
With Bogart's Industries.
Yeah.
And
What was it, Trimetric?
yeah, Trimetric. Really nice one. I like those. They've got one for RVs that's in a box, or like mine, that you can mount on the wall.
Yeah, it's flush mounted in
Yeah.
there. That's really cool. Wow. And what's this one?
That right there, that right here is I put a breaker in coming from my controller.
Yep.
And then it comes in, and this is actually a catastrophic fuse. So if something happened on either side, it would blow that fuse and you wouldn't catch fire. I really recommend those. Breakers are really good.
Yeah.
But
What amperage is that?
that is a 300. Yeah, that's a 300 amp.
Wow, that is catastrophic, isn't it? And then it goes up to that switch up there.
Yep, and that switch takes it from to all, which is both charging and using my power inverter, or one, which will be just my power inverter, you know, or just on the two, where I'm just charging my battery bank and I'm not using the power inverter.
So that's the next thing for people. Once you get your batteries all charged up with your solar, you need a power inverter to switch it to the normal household current, AC. And you got a pretty slick looking one there, 2000 watt natural.
Yeah, nature power.
Nature power inverter. That looks like a really good one.
That's one thing that I actually did buy from Camping World, because they had a deal on it. But the reviews were really good on it, so I decided to try it out. It's been good. I haven't had any troubles.
Yeah, and is that a modified sine wave or a
No, it's pure sine.
So that's pure sine, means you can run any of the sensitive electronics off it. Pretty well gives you a pure sine wave rather than a square wave that some of the cheaper ones do. And coming off that, you have two AC outlets.
Yes, I do.
And they're run into some junction boxes.
Yeah, I've got junction boxes that I have down underneath when I had my belly pan off. And then I ran individual regular household style plug-ins and in the house, so you can plug in different things, TV sets and your freezers and all that kind of equipment.
Cool. And then up here, this IntelliPower converter charger. So you did away with the regular one that came with the camper.
Exactly.
And went with this. And I guess your reasoning was you would mount this as close as you could.
Yeah, closer to your battery source, and the better. They also had number 6 wire running from the back end all the way up to here where the original battery bank was. And you can't charge batteries doing that. So what I did is I put it here, and then that number 6, I switched it out for number 4.
Oh yeah.
And the smallest wire I have is in the number 4 coming to this 2-aught that's right there. So you hardly have any resistance problem. I can charge my batteries up if they're down to say 70%, 60%. I can charge them up in about 2 hours easy.
Yeah.
And before it would take all day with my generator. And
yeah, so that's strictly for shore power and generators.
Yep.
And it just improves over the original OEM converter just by mounting it a lot closer in.
The OEM, I've got it in a box. I thought it was damaged, and I bet you there's nothing wrong with it. It's just where they mounted it at. They mounted it clear to the back of the rig.
Yeah. And then it looks like you have another charge controller here, but you say you're just using that to monitor things?
Yeah, the first 2 panels, the 150 panels, when I first put that in, I noticed that this charge controller only charges at 14.4. That's the highest it'll charge, which is good if I take and put some AGMs or something like that in there. But these lead acid batteries that I have here, the manufactured, the absorption charge they want for these batteries to be is 14.8.
And that, the TriStar,
is adjustable. You can adjust it. That one can go 12 volt, 24 volt, 48 volt, and you can have charge ratings from as low as 13.5 for an absorption charge, clear all the way up to 16.
Okay. What did you pay for this?
I think
roughly.
if you buy it without the monitor on it, I think
Yeah.
it's right at 180
Wow,
bucks.
that's not too much at all,
No,
really.
I bought the monitor, so it was right around 250 when I was
Yeah,
done, something like
yeah.
that.
And it's got a big heat sink on the top there.
That's what I liked about it.
Yeah. I like how you have everything mounted.
Well, if you don't have it mounted tight in these things,
Yeah.
it's going to come off. And we took and had our extra batteries. When I did this, I thought my batteries were going bad. That's the whole reason I started doing this.
Yep.
I had added one extra Group 24 on here, and I left them sit for almost 6 months when I was redoing everything, and I went and checked them, and they were still showing a voltage of 12.5 sitting on the concrete. So I figured the batteries weren't bad, so I put them in, put another switch for a main household going back to where the load center is for the 12 volt on the back of the coach.
Yep.
And we use this bank and charge it right along the other one. We haven't had any troubles. And
Nice.
now we went from having a couple of Group 24s to having right at 560 amp hours.
Wow. And I love your plumbing job here.
Yeah,
That gets rid of your battery gases.
Yep, and then I have a vent underneath on each side on each one of these. One there,
Yep.
and then one over here.
Yeah. Must be working. I don't see any sign of any corrosion anywhere.
And this is pull hose. The guy gave me a link for pull hose, and they used it.
Yeah. And you camp in some extreme weather. I know you stay up in Wyoming sometimes in the winter, and that would cause corrosion if anything's going to cause corrosion
Oh, yeah,
up
without
there.
a
And
doubt.
this looks clean as a whistle.
You know, that's the reason if anybody's using this in any more than just, warm desert,
Yeah.
I get the temperature compensation because that makes it
Yeah.
an amazing amount of difference.
Yeah. Temperature compensation, tilt, and heavy wire. It seems to be and a good charge controller. Wow, that's an amazing system. So you did this all yourself.
Yep.
So you must
Aggravated
have
my
saved
wife.
yourself a lot of labor.
Aggravated my wife. I spent many a night underneath the camper banging around.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Awesome job. Thanks for sharing that with us.
Not a problem.
That's wicked. Now I got lots of ideas now. Oh no.
I don't know.
My wife's not going to like me now. I need this. I need that.
I don't know. You're talking about corrosion on wires. I don't know if anybody's ever used any of this right here. This is my little electric kit for taking care of my batteries and,
Yep.
and keep your water up on your batteries all the
Yeah,
time.
don't let them boil dry.
This is fluid film, and it comes in a jar instead of a spray can.
Okay.
You can spray it in the top of your can and use it, but you actually put it on your terminals,
Yep.
and it's awful tight. That's good. But it comes with
yeah.
a brush.
Almost looks like glue.
And if you look, we've had this for quite a long time. It's made out of lanolin.
Yep.
But if you look at all those connections, there's no corrosion.
No, they're looking good.
And that's about a year old bank now. It's getting close to a year. Yeah, it's a year old now.
So,
And it spent some time on the coast too.
So you have any ideas for anything more or improvements?
My improvements, I'd
More
like,
batteries.
well, no, not
No.
more.
Yeah.
Like I was telling you, I'd like to go to Trojan's 12 volt,
12 volt,
150 amp batteries, and then you get more storage.
So would that make this a 600?
Yes, it would.
Bank?
Yeah,
Yeah,
make a
wow.
600 bank. And I want to get one of those Caracia 140s like I've got on the top,
Yep.
and make it as a portable so that I can catch that first morning and
Okay.
that last evening like I was
Yeah.
telling you. Now, I think that's more than anybody needs right there.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. We've been camping here for 4 or 5 days now and haven't heard a generator yet. Okay, I just thought I'd show you the monitor panel for the Trimetric charge controller here, and it gives you a wacky information. So right now it looks like we got 12.9 volts coming in there. So can it display the amperage?
Yep. That's your battery 2. That's the second battery bank. That shows your B1, which is your first battery bank. And then that's the amperage that's coming in.
Yep.
And
Pretty
right now
early.
the inverter's on. If I kick the inverter off, it'll
Oh,
climb.
okay, yeah.
So you're looking at, we're bringing in 12.3 right now, which is just a third of what it.
So that's what's going into the batteries.
That's what's going into the batteries.
So when you
right
had
now.
the inverter, it was using.
It was using
juice,
some of it,
so.
and that's what's good about this. It'll tell you what's being used and
So
what's
when
not.
it goes negative, you know, okay, we're losing battery capacity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then it has a battery full percentage, and all this you pre-program into your system, the size of your bank,
Yep.
and your amp hours, and the voltage and all that.
Yeah.
And it sends really interesting, easy to do instructions how to set
Yeah.
it up. And right now we're at 79. I was up early this morning, so I was watching too much TV, so I burned her down a little
That's
bit.
the percentage of
Yeah.
capacity left in your batteries, and you don't want to go below, say, 60% or something.
Well, that's my fail-safe. Everybody
Yeah.
else says 50.
Yeah.
If I can be, you know,
Yeah.
I'm a little careful. I'm not as, I haven't been doing it as long as some
But
people.
it's kind of a thing where you don't. It says 79%, but really, you don't never want to go below 50. So
No, 50's your cutoff. I've heard of people taking and depleting it down 80% of their battery use.
Yeah.
But
and if you go lower too many times, your batteries are damaged or worn out quickly.
like someone was telling me online, they said it's like a piece of rope. Every time you discharge your batteries, you're cutting a little piece off.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And the deeper you go, the bigger piece of rope you're cutting off.
That's a good analogy. Cool. And that's part of the Trimetric, kind of an add-on you can buy.
Yep. And that's
I'm going to get one of those. That's pretty
This is an
simple.
American-made business, and
Oh, yeah.
they probably, I don't know if they've got parts from another country, but it's all
Yeah.
made in now I can't remember where it's made at, but it's here in the United States
Yeah,
on the West
Bogart
Coast.
Engineering, so I'll link to their website in the description notes of the video. And that's a TM2025-A.
And they also have the one that's wall-mounted that you can mount on the outside for an
yeah.
RV.
You don't have to cut
That-
a hole in.
Yeah, it's got a junction box. It's got the outside 4 holes, so you can actually just screw it right on the outside of the wall instead of doing like I've done here. This worked out because I had a chase for it to go down.
Yeah, that's super neat.